Next show on the list is Drifters.
Oh, I so wanted this. I did not see this one. I wanted to. Who's got this one?
We
Nope.
we watched this one.
Oh man,
You guys
was
watched
really
it?
We
good.
watched the first episode. And
Oh, you was watching. Okay.
yeah. And with this one, I really wanted to see it because in a couple of the well, when I would read a lot of mangas, I saw the manga for this one pop up, and I never read it. So now that I saw that they made an anime for it, I figured I'd get to it, and it really didn't disappoint. It starts off with I guess what would be the main character, but it kind of tells his backstory. It's in old Japan. He's a samurai fighting against the big army. Basically, the fight plays out, and right when you think that he's going to die, he's transported to another world where it's just a hallway full of doors and a man at a desk. And the man at the desk doesn't say anything.
Eyes.
Yeah, with weirdest looking eyes. And you see him walking up through the movie, think there's going to be some kind of interaction. And right when you figure something's going to happen, he's sucked right through the doorway into another world. So he's in this world, he gets discovered by the inhabitants. And apparently it's a common occurrence. They take him to a rundown castle. There are two other characters that are drifters, essentially, that came from another timeline. And it's an elf, of course. And it kind of leaves it vague. You don't really know why they're there. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know anything about the elves or anything. It focuses on the three drifters. And
That's a little bit of comedy in it.
yeah, it's serious, but there's got its comedic relief. The action is amazing. If they would have done Berserk with this kind of animation, you would have loved it because it's brutal. You get all the gore, all of the action. It's all done really well. I love that. The first thing that caught me was actually the animation because it's really good. But
I got to check. I was curious about this one and I wanted to check it out, but I completely spaced it. So I definitely got to go see this one because I
I'll have
thought
to go back to that one.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be up your alley. So yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah.
But the whole episode too. I mean, there wasn't a boring moment because even when it's just the characters talking, they do it in a funny way, and they do very well at giving the information of each character. So you get a little bit of a background. You get to see the difference in time between the three characters and how the time that they were transported from and the amount of time that's passed in the new world that they're in. So
So each of the characters comes from a different plane of time and place.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
From Japan.
That's awesome.
And they kind of introduce a fourth character, but they don't introduce him. You see him.
It was like a taste of it, and then it was like, stay tuned for episode 2 in order to see what's going on. But it was pretty good. It's very like from the very beginning, it was very catching. They started introducing characters, and I feel like they introduced them very well because they started talking about them. They started talking about an era, but it was more of a conversation instead of this is what they did, this is where they come from. So I really liked it, and then with the additional comedic relief, it was really well. And then the little cliffhanger at the end for the fourth character.
Yeah.
See, did y'all just watch the first episode?
Yeah.
Or did y'all watch multiple?
Yeah, just only the first episode.
I kind of want to binge watch it, so I want to wait for the season to play out so I can just watch it all at once.
I understand.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that's really the way to do it in a lot of things, and most people, it seems it's hard more and more for people to get that is like when you're introducing characters and they have a history, you got to do it in such a way that you don't just bog down your viewers or your readers with just information, and yet you still make it kind of entertaining and intriguing to them,
Right.
And from what I got from it, I think they're also going to introduce actual characters in history because one of the characters is Nobunaga that they introduce you to. Yeah. So I think that I like that a little bit more when they can actually grab people from history that actually existed and incorporate them.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that show, I am actually not a big fan of anime that happened during that time period. and I feel like I should take like a Japanese history lesson because there's so many anime that have Nobunaga in it, and after watching this one, it seems like there's Nobunaga in the first episode. Then there was, I guess, a big person in Japanese history that happened like maybe a couple decades before him or a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
And they started like the way that they like explain the character and gave backstory is them comparing their histories. They're like, oh, well, I was here at this time, and then we were about to do this. And he's like, yeah. Well, that failed, and then we came over and took over this.
Yeah.
And then
spoilers.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So, basically.
Yeah, so...
like, yeah, you know everything that you did in your whole life? Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah. You're like, this person said, this person said, and all that kind of stuff. So I did like how they introduced those characters like that, but I really don't know if it's that actual story or if they're taking liberties with it. So I kind of want to know what really happened, like the dry, boring version of what happened, or interesting, however it goes. And then I'll be able to appreciate these anime more because I know what happened and I know what they're doing with it. So I watched that show and I'm like, it's not my time period, but I do like how playful those characters were and I want to see more, but I feel like I should like read up some before I see the rest of the show.
Wikipedia.
Quick research.
But anyways, definitely have to check that one out.
Yeah. I think that was number one on my list.
Cool.
So yeah, it's kind of those awkward situations. Hi, I can transform into a tiger, kind of either during certain situations or during a full moon. And yeah, he ends up joining up with a detective agency.
The colors are very vibrant, and I love the show.
I mean, just looking, I personally haven't watched it yet, but looking at the little like actual poster thing for it, I mean, you're saying how colorful it is. If it had like a slight hue to it, I would almost say the colorization reminds me of No Game, No Life.